It's the Brad and John Show.
It is the Brad and John Show. Today's date is the 27th of January, 2026. This is the B Block, and the reason I mention that is because a lot of people listen to the show in the future, and they either listen to it on bjshow.co, which is the podcast version, or they go to bjshow.us, which is the YouTube version. And I think it makes sense if you know what date we were doing the show as to the current situation and maybe just a reference on the date. Is that right, John?
You got it exactly right, as usual.
And what do we do in the B Block, John?
It's time for Brad's Top 3.
It's time for Brad's Top 3.
It is. And what do we start with? We start with...
It's number 3.
We do. John, I'm most upset with you because you missed a very important story in your top 3, which was the previous block.
No, what is it, Brad? I bet it doesn't have to do with state or local politics.
It does. It involves another data center and... another accusation that the property the data center is going to be built on is owned by a county official. Do you know?
Where is it, Brad? Where is this?
It's in Pacific, John, in Franklin County.
No way. Who brings us the story?
The story is brought to us by Mr. Colbert. Man, this guy, you know what? If they hired him at St. Louis Public Radio, this guy would essentially almost beat Jason Rosenbaum for the amount of stories he puts out. You know what I'm saying, John?
I get it. Yeah, so what's happening in Pacific?
Another data center wants to come in an area near Pacific. And, the people are all upset. They showed up at City Hall. And matter of fact, one of the people got so mad that they were doing this that they decided they were going to take action. They jumped into Bigfoot, and they threatened to run over the city officials if they didn't stop putting this data center in. By the way, do you know my reference to that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know the Bigfoot. Yeah, is the car still out there?
Yeah.
Is the Bigfoot still out there?
Yeah. Bigfoot adopted Pacific when Bigfoot got kicked out of Hazelwood. I don't think it got kicked out.
I remember it used to be at the corner of, what was that, Lindbergh and 270?
Right there. I used to take my kids there all the time. That was one of our spots. We'd go on the weekend. We'd go up there and we'd crawl around on Bigfoot.
I got us off topic, Brad. I see the story now. That land is owned in a trust registered to Linda and William McLaren from the Carr family, from the McLaren Carr family, right?
Not the McLaren Carr family. And I think also Dave Schatz is involved in this. And he showed up at this city council meeting at Pacific and he says, okay, look, if you will all give me your personal property tax receipts and your income tax statements, your receipts, and also show me your gas receipts for the last 20 years, we'll not build this data center. And they went, oh.
That's fair enough, Brad. Okay, so tell us about this.
Well, here we go again. It's like, okay, where are they going to be able to put a data center? Are they going to be able to put it on the moon and have a big cord come back down from the moon we'll just plug it right in right here? They got to go somewhere, and these people show up. Oh, we don't want a data center. Oh, it's going to make our electric bills go higher. Oh, it's going to take all the water. Oh, it's going to chase the hook-tailed squirrels away. Oh, come on. This is the future. The future is data. It's already here right now. You grab your phone. What do? You look at the news. You look at the weather. You order stuff on Amazon. Guess what? And as opposed to a lot of people who think, oh, this is just all AI. No, these data centers are not exclusively AI. They're going to handle all sorts of traffic. And
they handle stuff in the cloud. Like my favorite, which is GodSquad.cloud. They have some great AI songs that I totally listen to all the way through. But I would just push back a little and say maybe Pacific doesn't like it, or Forcell or Gray Summit. But doesn't it seem like folks in Warrenton, as we discussed last week, might be embracing this? Folks in Montgomery County are going to get a new data center. So it seems like some communities are embracing it.
John, one of my listener friends made a very interesting comment about you. When you made the comment, you said, what's the difference between the people in Franklin County and Warren County? And my comment was, okay, John, what's the difference between people in Kinloch and Chesterfield?
Yeah, that's true. And I said it's a little bit of a difference. What was our listener feedback, Brad?
They thought it was sort of interesting that you didn't realize that different cities have different opinions and different ways of doing things.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I haven't been around government and politics at all. This is my experience with Brad is my first time. So that's good feedback, Brad.
John,
I appreciate that.
John, you talked about the fact that when you went to have your PSA test done down at Dave Sinclair Ford down in South County, you talked about, oh my God, I couldn't believe I went into South County.
Yeah, that's true. And Brad, you brought up a good point, and I think the listener brings up a good point. And you have no credibility when it comes to relaying comments from listeners, because you would tell me things that Agnes said that I fact checked that Agnes didn't actually say. But a good point, Brad, that you bring up. is Gray Summit is not Washington, which is not Forestell, which is not Warrenton.
Right.
That's a good point. There is a difference between the demographics.
Yes, and the way people, I tell you, like John, I spent I don't know how many years in Washington. I'm telling you, Washington is. I told you the crazy story about.
Yeah, many times, Brad. It was a great story. Other than reading the headline, is there anything interesting in the Pacific story? So you mentioned that somebody owns land. Who owns it, and what's their position in the county?
I don't know. I haven't gotten that far yet. I thought,
okay, so you just read the headline. That's
yes.
Cool.
Yes. Come on. I'm ADD, John. You think I can go past the first paragraph?
I know, Brad. Well, that's a good story, and I'm booting it up on my computer right now. Speaking of feedback from listeners, we had a listener whose name I will not mention because you would know it and you would make a big deal about it. But they pointed out that Torch, actually, you asked me yesterday about the Torch Electronics lawsuit.
Yes.
And Torch lost that lawsuit back in September.
Really?
So thanks to this specific listener, Brad, we discussed it on the show. And I think actually I had to blame my faulty memory because I forgot that Torch actually lost the lawsuit. And the person that texted me yesterday after the show pointed out that, yes, Torch lost that lawsuit.
So Torch has to pay the amusement company some money or something like that?
Yeah. I think I think they straight up lost. I don't think that they settled before the verdict. I think that they actually just lost the case and had to pay.
Interesting. Okay, ready for my number 2?
Yeah, let's do it, Brad.
Okay, here we go.
It's time for Brad's number 2.
Okay, this is where Brad goes into nerd mode again because of the fact you asked me yesterday about this situation with the Sig Sauer P320 handgun that was...
Oh, yeah, I couldn't get enough of that deep dive.
Okay, first off, John, I found this very interesting, actually 3 very interesting stories on the New York Post website. Do you ever go to the New York Post website?
No.
First off, I'm thinking to myself, is my phone screwed up, or is that the world's most screwed up website where it keeps reloading to add more ads? And you start at the top of the story, and you're reading the story, and all of a sudden, it reloads, and it takes you back to the top of the story. You ever have that problem in some of these websites, John?
I do. Yeah, it's really frustrating. I feel your pain.
Okay, first off, the Sig Sauer P320 gun that this guy had that was shot by the ICE people over the weekend was a high-end version of the SIG P320. Typically, your SIG P320s are, if you get like the plain Jane version, they're like $700-800. This version was like $1,400. Secondly, it had been modified. And thirdly, they have a problem with these SIGs P320s firing. They called it if you have in the firearms business, if you have if you fire your gun and you don't mean to fire it or something, it's called a negligent discharge. On this particular gun, they call it an uncommanded discharge. In other words, the gun just fires itself. And what's interesting about it is the theory now, and the New York Post had this blocked down where they had frames that they grabbed from one of the videos, actually a couple of videos, and they showed the various frames. And they do believe, according to the New York Post, that what happened was this guy was, if you see the pictures of, he's in the face of all the ICE guys, he's out in the street, he's trying to direct traffic like our 2 women friends who were in the Honda Pilot, and one of them who lost her life on this situation. He was chest bumping some of the ICE people, and they started pushing him off to the side. And then he got belligerent, and they got him down on the ground. And they believe that as the one ICE official saw the gun on his waistband, and he had it holstered in his waistband, and they took it out of his waistband, the gun uncommandedly fired, and that's why the other ICE agent shot him. That's what they're saying, according to the New York Post.
I see. And we discussed that yesterday, right, Brad? I think I asked you if that was what happened. And at that point yesterday, we weren't sure.
Yes. But this is interesting because they break it down frame by frame by frame. And when you see the frames, you're going like, okay, that's what it looks like. And unfortunately, the ICE guy that pumped, I think, 9 rounds into this poor guy thought he was being fired at. That was the whole situation. It wasn't like, people going, well, they just put him on the ground and execute him. No, that wasn't the situation at all. And this is a very common problem with these Sig Sauer P320s to the point where they became very popular, and a lot of police departments bought them to replace their Glocks because the police departments have been using Glocks for a long time, and they decided, we want the new shiny gun. So that's the gun that the military is going to use, so we want that gun. So they bought a bunch of them, and a lot of the departments have essentially given them back or sold them off and gone back to Glocks. So what does that tell you, John?
It tells you that every time a woman says that Brad has an uncommanded discharge, he says, not the first 10.
Here we go again.
And now, big finish, Brad's number.
John, I find it fascinating that we have government officials that are doing 180s. And interestingly enough, I saw a picture yesterday. The news was that the guy who was commanding ICE and CPB or whatever it is, Border Patrol dudes up in Minneapolis has been replaced, and he's been reassigned, and they brought in Tom Homan. Okay, now first off, do you have any idea how old Tom Homan is?
I couldn't even hazard a guess, Brad. Is he as old as you?
He's 77. Okay.
Oh wow. Okay.
He's up there in years. Okay. And what's interesting about this whole crazy, weird story is that there's a picture that has surfaced on the internet of Barack Obama, when he was the president of the United States, pinning, I believe, there's an award, like citizens get like this. If you're not in the military would be like the Congressional Medal of Honor.
The highest civilian award, whatever that is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And guess who is putting this award around the neck of Tom Homan back in the Obama administration?
No idea. Who is it?
President Obama.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Because,
that would make sense.
Do you know why? Do you know why he's giving this award? Why Obama, who's a Democrat, is giving this award to Tom Homan, who at the time was, I think, the head Border Patrol dude back in the day when Obama was in office? Do you know why he's giving...
For solving the immigration issue.
And getting rid of 5 million illegal immigrants. Okay, now, let's flash forward to 2026, okay? The Democrats have switched sides. And there's all sorts of interesting videos about Chucky Schumer, who's talking about, we need to have them do something about these illegal immigrants. The illegal immigrants are taking over the country. And then yesterday, this is one article I saw all these little interesting things. There's a video of Hillary Clinton, I can't talk this morning, Hillary Clinton complaining about one of the problems in the United States is illegal immigrants. Now, let's go back to the 80s when we had Ronald Reagan in office, okay? And if you remember, one of the things that Ronald Reagan got essentially chastised about as a Republican, when we had a lot of illegal immigrants, yes, back in the 80s, he essentially gave them a free pass, essentially said, if you're here, we're going to let you stay, and we're not going to kick you out, but we're closing down the border, okay? You see where I'm going with this?
I do. You're suggesting that folks have changed sides back and forth. The Republicans and the Democrats, according to you, have flipped.
Exactly. The Republicans with under Reagan essentially said, yeah, we got a bunch of illegals here, but you know what? We're not going to kick them out. We're going to give them some special program where they're going to be able to stay. And if they do these things right, they can become American citizens. And back then, and even to the point where, and they've actually had a clip of Bill Clinton in the 90s saying the same thing. No, not what Ronald Reagan said, but we got an illegal immigration problem. And no, how do you say? Hey, we got this problem. And I can't do a good Bill Clinton, but I'm telling you right now, it was not that illegal immigrant in the White House room with me. It was not that illegal
I checked
immigrant.
Monica Lewinsky's papers.
Right. She
You're
has.
saying that the parties have flipped, and that would underscore something that another listener sent to me on Monday. Gosh, I guess that would have been yesterday. Or maybe on Sunday, a listener to our show was talking about immigration. And Brad, it's a shame that we don't have time in B Block to get to your monthly Brian Nieves callback. But this gentleman sent me a video of Brian Nieves at a rally in 2012, maybe 2013. And it was Brian Nieves doing his shtick about, hey, federal government, you do not tell citizens what to do. And it was essentially, get your jackbooted thugs out of our area, Barack Hussein Obama. And this gentleman who texted me was pointing out that it would seem that Republicans' message from the Brian Nieves days is now the Democrats' message going into the midterms.
See, John, I may look dumb and I may act dumb, but occasionally I'm like what's the old deal? Occasionally a blind squirrel will find a nut.
We'll occasionally find a nut. Yeah. Now, when you go to your Roosevelt Bank branch, do you think they're going to be open on a snow day? Yes.
Actually,
and does that prove something? Probably.
Actually,
but other than that, Brad, you're on top of it.
Actually, I have all my funds in Community Federal Savings and Loan. That's where my money is.
That's a good idea, Brad. I'd split it between Roosevelt, maybe Mercantile. Mercantile has a pretty good savings rate
Mercantile
too.
was a good one. Yeah. You know,
I was more of a First Star guy. You know what I mean?
You think there's changes in the radio business. Look at the banking business.
Yeah. I opened my first account with Roosevelt Bank. Well, I mean, the first one as an adult with Roosevelt Bank.
Do you know who loves the banking industry here in St. Louis?
Who's that?
The sign companies, because they get to change the names on the buildings.
They get to change it very often, don't they,
right.
Brad?
Oh, well, they've been sold again. Okay, we have to take a break. So, John, do you give me points? See, because you're telling me that people are sending you things. Exactly what I'm saying is that the Democrats and the Republicans have done a 180. They're like the Hatfields and McCoys. The Hatfields are on the north side, and the McCoys are on the south side, and all of a sudden, one day, they're reversed. You get what I'm saying?
I know, and that's why you're out there disparaging rhinos, and Tracy Ellis is calling you a kino. I don't know what this world's come to.
She better not say that about Pastor Brad. I'll throw one of my new songs at her.